Well, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in to the live webcast here today on January 8th. I really appreciate you, especially if you're tuning in live. Thank you for clearing your calendar, paying attention to either my emails or my social media updates, and making it a priority to be here. I'd really, truly do appreciate that. I see we have a number of people that are already live watching as I speak here. That's not to say if you watch the replay, maybe your schedule didn't allow you to watch live, and so you may be watching this later. This will actually be available as a replay shortly after the live broadcast ends, and so I appreciate you as well. I think you'll get a lot out of this, whether you're watching live or whether you watch it in the replay. As I mentioned, this is being recorded on January 8th. I kind of randomly picked this date. I did the first one of these. I just started doing these live YouTube broadcasts just last week, and I had so much fun doing the first music marketing Q&A and I had a lot of leftover questions that people had submitted, and so I wanted to do a second one. I chose Wednesday, not realizing that it's actually Elvis's birthday today, January 8th, and in fact you may see images of the king on the wall behind me. As I mentioned in last week's webcast, and if you've ever watched the new interview series that I've been doing called The Creative Entrepreneur, which since you're watching this on YouTube on my channel, once this is over, if you click my name or go to my channel, maybe you'd like to subscribe to the channel. I have different playlists in there. One of them is called The Creative Entrepreneur. It's a new series I started back in June of last year, and I got like 16 great interviews with creative people of all kinds, not just music people, but visual artists and authors and people just doing really cool things in the world. Anyway, I do those interviews. They're Skype video interviews where I have both myself and the person I'm interviewing on a split screen, and so you may have seen this background. I'm in my home office in St. Louis, Missouri. Those are actually original paintings of mine. I'm a big fan of the King, and so we got Elvis there. We got a smaller one that I usually don't have on the wall that I really like. And actually, one of my newest paintings is right there. Wait, see if I can get my finger here lined up. That's Edgar Allan Poe. I just did a couple of days ago. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. And so anyway, so yeah, I like it's a room of creativity. I do writing, I do artwork in here, and who knows what else. So thank you for being here. Let me mention, I see our people are already jumping in this. If you're watching live, this won't be the case if you're watching the replay, but if you're watching live, over here to this side of me, I guess to your right, would be a comments section. And so you need to log into YouTube or Google and then leave a question or a comment. I'm going to keep an eye on those throughout the hour here and I'll do my best to answer as many questions as I possibly can. I still have a clipboard here of things I didn't get to last time, so I'm going to be bouncing back and forth from things that were submitted ahead of time to things that are being submitted live. And I will tell you, I've been at this for 20 years, and I am, I guess known as a music marketing resource. But a lot of people, I guess, have this perspective of me that I'm like a music business expert, and so I get asked questions about royalty rates and different like contractual things, and I'm telling you, I sort of have focused on a little sliver of the music business, and that's marketing, fan attraction. In fact, this whole idea of direct to fan, which you probably heard, it's been a kind of a buzz phrase for some years now. And actually, I was preaching that message long before direct-to-fan was ever uttered for a long time. So I have my areas of expertise where I'm solid on. There are areas of the music business I'm clueless or I know very little about. So I'm just going to be honest with you. There's a question here. I'm going to give you a little taste of what I know, but I'll try to refer you to someone that's a little bit more of an expert. And in fact, let's just go to the top of the list here. Some people kind of left some comments before we even started live. Somebody who goes by Street Spiritual said, I changed my Facebook account to an artist account, but I'm having trouble managing it. Seeing my friends' feed and such, do you have any suggestions for correcting what now seems to be a grave mistake? So this is more of a technical question than really a marketing question. However, I do know apparently there is a way to switch your personal profile over to what's known as a business page or a fan page. But I think there's some problems when you do that, which you have experienced. My own personal experience with Facebook, I got on, I guess, fairly early, and I was driving traffic to my personal profile for a couple of years before they even offered business or fan pages separately. If I was starting over again, I would probably have my personal profile, set up for friends and family, and then have a separate fan page for my my author and book marketing stuff and all that. But I had already established such a presence and such a following on my personal profile that I did create a fan page, but it doesn't have nearly as much juice and activity as my personal profile. I know the personal profile is kind of like behind the registration wall at Facebook, so it's not like searchable. Like things that I post on my personal profile won't come up on Google, whereas things on your fan page can. And so so I have kind of a different whole slant on Facebook, and use more of my personal profile. I don't really know how to correct it once you've switched over to a fan page, how to get it back. I just don't have an answer to that. But then there are a lot of issues with Facebook, with them like wanting to encourage more people to pay to boost their posts or to pay for ads, and so the things on your fan page are not being seen by nearly as many people. And so there's a lot of controversy about that, and so that's why you can't never rely on a single source. It used to be like 10 or 12 years ago, there was this website called mp3.com, which was all the rage, and actually paid. They gave you a little chunk of their advertising money for the more people that would come to your music page and stream. And some people were making pretty good money from the traffic they were getting to mp3.com, and they were sending a lot of people there and building up a fan base there. And then the site just went under. Like one day, it would change ownership, and it was just gone. And so all that effort to drive all the traffic and everything, build all the attention to mp3.com / whatever your URL there was just went down the tubes. Same thing happened in MySpace. Everybody was driving traffic to their MySpace page instead of their own artist website. A lot of people rely just on Google traffic, and every time they do an algorithm change or an updates, a lot of people kind of feel like they got lost in the shuffle. And so never rely on a single site to be your primary. You always have to have an artist website at the center of everything that you do, and then use all these other places as sort of little outposts where you have a presence. Brian asked, with NAMM right around the corner, what are your thoughts on endorsements and how to seek them out? I really don't know a lot about the inner workings of endorsements. I have friends that have done that. I think the endorsements thing is very similar to like the question that comes up of how do I find a manager, or where do I get a manager? And so you're really not going to have, there's no reason to seek out a manager until there's something to manage. Being in obscurity and wanting someone to save you is not a reason to go get a manager. However, if you're really cranking and you're booking a lot of gigs and you're building a fan base and you're kind of being overwhelmed by the workload, and somebody's the potential to make, who really loves your music, and potential to build a business together, then there's a situation there where you might be able to partner with a manager. I think it's similar to the endorsement thing. You've got to have a fan base and some buzz. It's a mutual exchange of value, and I think endorsements can be everything from as simple as they give you free equipment in exchange for promoting you a little bit, to where they give you money, and they help you with tour support. But I don't know how to go to NAMM and like drum those up, other than just talking to people. I actually find musicians that are having endorsements, and they're actually indie artists that are like my friend Ali Handel has some endorsements. My friend Ravi, who does a lot with sponsorships and endorsements, but I don't know enough about them myself. Where people check out his YouTube video. Yeah, so yeah, actually, Gypsman71 is asking about how to draw more people to check out an artist's YouTube video. I think I might answer that with some of the questions that were submitted ahead of time. Let me actually cover some of those right now, if you don't mind. I'm going to have my handy green bottle. I think this was a birthday present from my daughter. She's a teenager, and so it's one of my favorite drinking cups. So excuse me if I lift this large green tube periodically to quench my thirst. But I hope you're having a great hump day, and if you're in the U.S. or all the freezing temperatures, I hope you're staying warm and staying safe. I think it's starting to break here in St. Louis. Anyway, Nathan had submitted a question earlier, and it's, what is the best, most direct way to research where people who listen to your genre of music might go? So this is basically Yeah, I talk a lot about your ideal fans. You're not trying to attract everyone. You're trying to attract a small sliver or slice of the population that is predisposed to like be attracted to and enjoy your music. And I love that word predisposed because it means that there's something about them that makes them more likely to connect with your identity as an artist, your genre, your lyrical themes, and those things can be their age, it can be their gender, it could be their background, it could be their worldview, their attitude, you know, whether they're, I mean, for everything from whether they're generally negative or generally positive, whether their political leanings, all kinds of stuff goes into making someone predisposed to like you. And so knowing those qualities of your fans makes it a lot easier to market, because then you know where to go to hang out and spread your message, as opposed to the shotgun approach of just spraying everything, everybody, a big crowd with this message and hoping it lands and sticks on something. You go, it's more like targeted rifle shots. I don't like the military reference there, but it's more targeted, so you take your message right to the people that are most likely to resonate with it. So he's asking, what's the best way to research the people where they go, where they might go. So there's a lot of, I have addressed this, in fact this is covered in, I think, lesson 3 of this upcoming module of the Guerrilla Music Marketing Masterclass that's going to start on Monday. We cover that in the 3rd week, about identifying your fans and being real clear about who they are, creating a profile of them. So one thing is you can observe if you play live at all. You want to observe the people that are coming to your shows. You should notice a pattern of some kind that will give you a clue as to who they are. You can also, if you have any kind of an email list, which is crucial, I can't stress this enough, your #1 marketing asset is always your email list. You need to be building up names and email addresses of people who have given you permission to contact them about your musical endeavors. You need to stay in touch. It's the most direct way to communicate with your fans, far more powerful than Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all this stuff. And then you can actually ask people, either in live settings or by email. Send an email out to your fans. Hey, I want to know a little bit more about the people that I'm serving, so let me know who you are, you know, where you hang out, where do you discover new music. Just go ahead and ask them and see what kind of responses that you get. But my #1 sort of recommendation for musicians and artists who are confused about, well, who are my fans and where they hang out, is to look in the mirror. That's right. Look in the mirror, because your music, if you're the creator, I assume that you're the writer and you're the creator of it, and this might be different if you're coming at this from the perspective of a manager, where you're not the artist, but assuming that you're the artist and you're the creator of this music, it is a personal extension of you and who you are. And so quite often your fans are very much like you. You're trying to attract people like you. So ask yourself these questions. Where do you discover new music? What websites do you hang out on? Is it through word of mouth of friends? Is it through certain websites, blogs, podcasts that you listen to, YouTube channels that you check out on a regular basis? So quite often the marketing is sometimes not as mysterious as we sometimes make it out to be, because in addition to being an artist, you are a fan, and it's really, I assume you're a fan of music and you have favorite artists. So how did you discover them? What motivated you to spend money on their album or to buy, you know, a ticket to their concert? And how did you discover that? So use that to say, oh, okay, well, I can use the same avenues probably to reach my ideal fans. So that's kind of a quick overview of that. But we do go in depth a lot more in lesson 3 of this upcoming module, and I will be doing some plugs for an upcoming class. Last year, I launched 4 different modules of what I call the Guerrilla Music Marketing Masterclass series. It's all based on sections of my book, which is called the Guerrilla Music Marketing Handbook. You may have heard of it. Maybe you had it in a college music business class or something. A lot of people do. But I took each section of the book and turned it into a 4-week, actually 5 weeks, sometimes I added bonus lessons at the end, class that a number of people went through that I'll tell you a little bit more about. And actually I'll give you a little way to save a little bit of money on it if you want to register for it by Friday. It starts on Monday, but we do cover this topic more so there. Let me just get one more question, then I'm going to take a look at the comments. They're live here. Try to hit both people here. Sean Wallace asked, what social media outlet is the most effective to market my music? What social media outlet is the most effective to market my music? This is a question that comes up a lot. Hang on while I take a drink. So, unfortunately, there is no one-size-fits-all answer. I go, where should I be? Where's all the music fans congregating? What's the one thing I should be doing? What's the one easy button I need to push? And there's no one answer for this, but I will give you something to work with. And in fact, I'm hoping if you're in a situation where you can do this, unless you're driving or something, grab a piece of paper, and hopefully you're taking some notes here. In this section, actually, you might want to take some notes, because there is a... in the section 2 of this book, a completely new chapter. It's called Everything You've Always Wanted to Know About Everything You've Always Wanted to Know About What to Post and Share Online. And there's a little section here where I describe the places where you need to be focusing on have to be totally related to your communication style and your communication strength. And there are basically 4 different ways of communicating online. So again, if you want to write these down and then look at them later and decide where your strengths are, that might be really helpful. One is text-based. This was the original form of communication online. It's words. And so this could be words in email, blogs, articles, anything that involves the written word. And search is very much based on words and titles and descriptions and all that stuff. That's why those things are really key. So it's words. Some people are really drawn to writing, and others hate it. And so that's one form of communication, is a written word. Number 2 is communicating through someone's ears. So it's audio. For a musician, the obvious way to communicate by audio is with your music. That's the primary thing. You probably want to get into people's ears as soon as you can. Like one thing that you can do with your website, for instance, is when people go to it, have a clear call to action for people to listen as soon as they get there, to listen to some of your music. There's a lot of controversy about this. I would caution against using autoplay when somebody goes to your website, just because it can be annoying for some people if they're doing this from work, or from stay-at-home mom or whatever, is a sleeping baby in the room, and suddenly that's music blasting out, but make it a clear call to action. Push the play button to hear our new single or whatever. So through people's ears. But in addition to music, you also have the option of spoken word messages, and so that could be podcasts. That could just be simple audio greetings. So just think of how to reach people through their ears, musically and spoken word and otherwise. Number 3 is visual, which is primarily like still images and graphic type of things. And so if you're good at graphic design or with using Photoshop or some of these design skills, some people are and some people aren't, but that's another way. You've probably seen on Facebook a lot of these like visual quotes, where there'll be a nice photo and somebody will take a quote over that, and those things get noticed and shared a lot. So you can do that with band photos, with posters for your gigs, to make something, instead of just a text announcement saying where you're playing, have an actual poster. One band actually, some friends in St. Louis here, on my birthday, they had this custom-made, it was a band photo, like a promo photo, but over it they had said, hey, we're wishing you a happy birthday. It wasn't made out to me specifically with my name or anything, but just was a generic, but they posted that on my Facebook page on my birthday instead of the normal text happy birthday. It stood out. I thought it was really cool. And so there are visual ways with still images that you can communicate with. And then the 4th and final mode is video, which is obviously what I'm doing here. And that can combine all those things. It combines audio, and you can have still images, you can have moving pictures like this. So that can be music videos, but there's like a long list of things that you can do video-wise. You could sit there and speak into the camera like I am. You can have someone interview you, or there's someone off camera asking you questions and you're answering it. You can interview other people with both of you, have a banter with your band. There's all sorts of things. Video clips from the road, from the studio. And so anyway, let's go through those again. There's text-based, there's audio-based, there's still images, visual, and then there's video. And so where's your communication strength? Are you a really excellent writer? Do you enjoy writing? If so, then maybe blogging would be one of your core things that you do. But maybe you hate writing, you don't look forward to it, you feel like you're lousy at it, but you're a great extemporaneous speaker. You know, you're great at conversations, and you're witty and charming and all that good stuff. So maybe audio greetings, a podcast, or video like this, speaking to a camera off the cuff, would be your thing. If you have design skills and you're drawing, maybe you're an artist and you do some painting or whatever, or you just have graphic design skills, then maybe Pinterest and Instagram and these kind of more visually visual things or sites would be ideal for you. So figure out what's your communication style or strengths, and then based on that, pick 2 or 3 of these sites where you can really focus on and try to dominate them. And so that's my long answer to what social media outlet is most effective to market my music. The one that you're going to enjoy doing, and the one that you're going to be good at, and you're going to be able to do on a consistent basis and establish a presence there. That's my best answer that I have. And by the way, if I could plug another thing that I have available if you go to thebuzzfactor.com, you also find there's a resource that I have called Social Media Marketing for Musicians. It's a couple of audio files from some live workshops and PowerPoints and stuff like that. And so if you want to know more about that, check that out. All right, I'm going to take a drink, and I'm going to pause a second here while I look through the comments. So give me I think there's a lot of them here too. So give me a second while I look through. I don't want to listen to myself. There's a playback here. Wow, there's a lot of comments. I'm going to do my best here. Yeah, Stan, who I believe is signed up for this upcoming module of the Guerrilla Music Marketing class, asked, in order to collect email addresses, I'm offering free song download for my website, which is very smart. I wonder if it would be a good idea to post that on Facebook as an event and invite all my Facebook friends to come to my website. I have sort of mixed feelings about, or actually probably negative feelings about Facebook events. I'm just so bombarded with invitations. I tune most of the ones that I get out, and I've been reluctant to, I've had mixed results with creating events, although I've seen people be successful with them too. I've also seen people use the event page feature in Facebook for really they're really supposed to be for live events where you show up. But I've seen people do them for webinars. I've seen people do them for album releases. I mean, Stan, you could try it. I think you might have limited success with it, so I'm kind of on the fence about it. I'm like, go for it and try. I'm all about experimentation too, so I don't have any hard and fast rules, although there are actually some like focus on fans and build an email list, but a lot of this is don't put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect and to have it all right and to know it all, because you never will know it all, even when you study this stuff for 20 years like I have. So try it, see what happens. Try to do something, maybe try to add some element of excitement to it. I don't know exactly what. Maybe do a live YouTube thing like this where you that's your event, and so it's at a specific date and time, and you play some songs live, but in it you are regularly encouraging people to sign up for your free downloads, and you regularly reference. In fact, I'm sort of doing this here. I'm doing this free. You're going to get a lot of value out of this, whether you sign up for my upcoming course or not, but I'm going to make references throughout this hour to the class that's starting on Monday, and I'm going to point down and say in the description below the video, there's a link to the class registration page where you can learn more about it and sign up. I'm going to give you a code for a discount. So I'm sort of doing that here. Maybe you can model that, Stan, and use the event page in that way. So it's actually a live event with a fixed date and time, and not just sort of a sneaky way of using it. Emma Murray, see, I know it's personal choice, but would you recommend getting a website with a service? She's asking about getting a website, paying $300. And somebody else had submitted a question. I don't think it's on this list, about somewhere. Or maybe it was in Billy's Music Marketing Mind Facebook group, which I see he's in the comments there too. Hi, Billy. Yeah, Music Marketing Mind. Search for that group on Facebook. It's a very active group of independent musicians. I think someone was asking about whether you should pay for a website when there's so many things like Bandzoogle and HostBaby where you can pick templates and sort of design it yourself. So yeah, I mean, I'm all about low cost and no cost as much as possible, but $300 is pretty reasonable for someone to create a website for you. Yeah, and so that's kind of like my best. You change your Facebook account to an artist page. You should have both. Yeah, Roland is commenting in on my earlier question. Hey, Bob, comments. All right. It's great that you're doing 2 webcasts. You're welcome. Oh, Patty is on the line, and you'd asked. Actually, I maybe just go ahead and answer. Patty, you had asked some questions about licensing. And again, this is an area that I don't have a lot of insider, perspective on, especially when it comes, if you're talking about royalties and contractual type of things. But here's just kind of the basic stuff that I know about licensing. Because a lot of artists have been hearing about this, whether it's like having your used in either films or commercials or multimedia presentations. There's probably other things that film, TV. If you can get on one of these popular TV shows, it can really not only be a semi-lucrative thing, but it can also get you some extra exposure. Although I heard there was like an initial heyday when these licensing or film and TV people started turning more and more to independent artists, because the quality of the independent music has just gotten better and better over the years, and probably dealing with major label established music acts to license their music for film and TV was very expensive, and so well, heck, we can get quality music and stuff that really fits the scene from an indie artist. And I think there was an initial some good payouts in those early days that I think I've heard have kind of dwindled a little bit, although anything's possible. But licensing is a different animal. So my whole area of expertise is the artist to fan relationship. So in the business world, that's referred to as B2C, so it's business to consumer, as opposed to B2B, which is business to business. And so like Amazon is a business to consumer company. They're a company that deals directly with the end user, with the consumer, and serving them, whereas like FedEx or UPS is a business to business. They work with businesses to deliver stuff to consumers, but their main client is the person. I think you're following me. So music licensing is more of a B2B, a business to business transaction, than a business to fan thing, which is again my area. And so that comes down to a lot with relationships. So like anything, when you first get into licensing, it's a whole new, nobody knows you. It's a big mystery. And as you start reaching out to people and start getting some initial placements, you'll start to get to know people. And if they like you and enjoyed working with you and you're very responsive to them, the same companies may come back to you for their other needs. Also, when people move around from company to company, like somebody you might have worked with in one, in an early year who had a lower position at one company, they get a job somewhere else with they're more in charge, and they remember you, and then suddenly you're working for them at this bigger company. So a lot of that is just time and relationship building. And so, but beyond that, I think there's a lot of these sites that are sort of like repositories where you can, not suppositories, it's a different thing, what's all together, but there's sites where you can list your music, like Pump Audio, I know was one that was on early on, and some others, and where companies can go there and then search the database for available music. There, I have a feeling that searchability is helpful. For instance, my friend Chuck Hughes, I don't know if he's on if he's watching now, he plays in a rockabilly band called the Hillbilly Hellcats, and he got on Pump Audio really early and had a lot of success with it, got a lot of placements, and I have a feeling that people were looking for a specific type of music. We need a rockabilly song, and so his stuff was probably labeled rockabilly, or it was guitar, or it was I don't know, trailer songs about like trailer trash or something. And maybe because if you have very specifically worded things in these databases that people are going to be searching for, type of music that might help you be discovered within some of these sites where you don't have the existing relationships. And then my final thing on licensing is that I've heard from a number of people that it really helps if you actually have the master tracks and can manipulate them and do it quickly. So what I've heard is somebody will go, we love this song, we want to use it, we need a 30-second bit, can you take the vocals out or repeat the instrumental track or the bridge or whatever and shave it down to 42 seconds and do this. And if you can go in and manipulate those tracks and pump something out for them quickly, you're going to have a lot better chance of, or you're going to be someone that they're going to want to work with on a regular basis. So that's my sort of licensing thing. It's a business-to-business transaction. It's all about building relationships, searchability. If you're in the kind of database of things, being clearly labeling things for things that companies might be searching for, and then being able to manipulate your tracks in any way that they want, as long as it still conforms with your values. Billy wants the Spock painting. This is I think you're gonna have to do a Kickstarter campaign. So, although it may not be that expensive, but great hint there, video. Oh, thanks for well done on the Poe painting. Glad you like it. It's getting crowded here. All right, cool. Really enjoyed the vid last week. Let's hear. All right. I think Seth is here, running back and forth while grabbing coffee. Seth Jackson is in the house. He's got a awesome. It said how to. God, I always blow the name of this. How to run a band. It's in there, so I'll try to figure that URL out. He's got a great site. Okay, let me go to some other pre-submitted questions here, and then move along. Okay, how can artists encourage people to buy albums as opposed to just singles? Actually, before I do that, let me do a little bit of a plug for the master class that's coming up. Just to get, because I am going to just mention it a couple of times here, and I'll give you that discount code. I'm repeating Module 1. It's sort of like the introductory. It's based on Section 1 of the Guerrilla Music Marketing Handbook. It's basically all about laying the foundation for independent music success. And just because it's the first module does not mean it's just for beginners or just for people that don't know what they're doing. We go pretty deep into the basics of music marketing, but clarifying who your fans are, how to communicate. We talk about a brand identity statement, that little motto that you can use to communicate who you are. There's a really pretty in-depth section on goal setting. But the thing is, and Billy, I know you're the one person I know for sure that has taken all of the modules last year, and so feel free to add something in the comments about what you've gotten out of them. But let me say that these classes were not designed for people that just want information. I mean, you can get the information in the book, in which you're welcome to do, but I create these classes to be an experience. I don't just want you to again, fill your head with ideas. I want you to actually get stuff done. And so they're purposely designed to get you to take action and immerse yourself, and there's a number of ways that I do that. One, I connect you with a success partner, like an accountability partner that I encourage you to communicate with 3 to 5 times a week. 5 times a week is 15 minutes every morning or whatever, however you work it out with your partner. But it's a very powerful thing, knowing that you're going to be talking to somebody and having someone to sort of who's on a similar journey to discuss your what you're going through with the lesson and what your priorities are that week. Let's see, and you can opt out of it. I actually ask you when you sign up to tell me whether you're committed to doing it 3 to 5 times with a partner, or maybe your schedule doesn't allow, and maybe you just like to connect with somebody once a week. Because I want you to be paired with somebody who's at a similar interest level, and wants I want people that are really ready to go for it to be paired with other people in that category. And so every week I deliver a lesson by PDF. It's several pages of the lesson. Then there's these worksheets in there, that few pages of worksheets, and this is where you actually print them off. You write in on them, and you take the principles discussed in the lesson and you make them your own. This is where it comes to life for you. Then every day during the 4 or 5 weeks, I encourage you to pick 3 simple things, 3 simple tasks related to marketing that can be related to that week's lesson. That'd probably be the ideal thing, but you can also have it related to a priority, of wherever you are, or whatever your project that you're working on now. And the idea is before you go to bed that night, you complete these 3 simple tasks. That's why they need to be simple. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, be disappointed every day that you didn't get to them. Make sure that there are 3 things that you can actually do. And then you talk to your success partner every day. You share the 3 things. Well, here's what I got done yesterday. Here's what I'm planning on doing today. And if you didn't, you admit what fell through the cracks, and you just recommit to 3 things today. But it's amazing how much you can get done. I've paired myself with partners in these modules just so I can know what it's like, and I even made significant progress during these 4 weeks. It's amazing what people at the end of the 4 weeks, when we look back in our final call, I ask people, well, what did you get done? And some of the stuff that's happened is really encouraging. There's a private Facebook group where you can interact at any time. Throughout the weeks, there's 4 60 to 90-minute conference calls where we meet every week and discuss the lessons. And so it's pretty cool stuff. And so I've got a link there below the video in the description. It spells out everything about the class and what you need to know, the dates of the calls and all that. And the early bird discount is officially over. But for those listening to this live or the replay up until Friday, January 10th, at the end of the day, you can save $30 by, when you get to the shopping cart, in the coupon code field, enter this GMM30. So just think Guerrilla Music Marketing 30, $30 off. So the letter G, the letter M, the letter M, the number 3, the number 0. GMM30. Enter that in the coupon code, and it'll knock $30 off, but only until Friday night. So I want to reward people that are live on the call or live on the broadcast. I want to reward people that watch the replay within a couple of days, and it starts on Monday, January 13th. I would love for you to join us in that. So cool. All right. I read a question earlier. How can artists encourage people to buy albums as opposed to just singles? This is one reason that I like a website you've probably heard of called Bandcamp. It's sort of like an indie do-it-yourself platform for selling. It used to be only digital downloads of music, but now you can actually sell physical products too. But what I like about Bandcamp, super easy to use, and super easy for your fans to go to and make purchases. But unlike iTunes, it's really easy to mix and match your albums and what you sell. So you can sell singles, you set the price. There's all sorts of ways. You can have a set price. You can have a choose your own price. You can have a minimum price or more, like like it's not 99 cents, or they can add an extra amount. I've actually done this with some of my the music that I've created, and a lot of people that go there will, instead of paying the lowest minimum, will pay $2 or $3 or whatever, just because they know and love you and they want to support you. But you give them that option to pay a little bit more if they can or if they want to. But I like Bandcamp because it allows you, again, to mix and match songs and create albums. And so one way to encourage more people to buy albums as opposed to just singles is to really beef up the album sales, make special tracks and video and bonus stuff available when they buy the album that maybe are not available as standalone items. I actually last year also released an audio training program called 19 Cash Flow Strategies for Musicians and Bands, and on there I talk about one thing that you can do is have a limited time offer on an album. What I do, if I'm trying to recall all the details here, but the excitement that surrounds the release of a new album, and it's one of the things that can really draw attention. The CD release party and all that stuff. The buzz building up to it, and then the new album, and then after a while maybe the buzz dies down. And so the idea is, well, how can you create that buzz a little more often, but without having to go to the studio or record 10 or 12 songs or whatever? Well, one thing is, of course, you could do EPs. A lot of artists are doing 5 or 6 song EPs instead of full, 12 or 15 song albums. But the idea I had in this cash flow strategies thing was to take stuff like things that didn't make it onto previous albums, live recordings, alternate takes, demos. Take a collection of stuff that maybe is not readily available to the public. Put it together, maybe put a new song or two on it that you've been working on, but put all this sort of like bonus material on it and make it available for a limited time, even if it's a digital release. There's a thing called Scarcity, which is a great motivator to get people to buy now instead of later, and so that's why you'll see a lot of, whether it's infomercials or it's stuff that you and I promote, when there's a deadline and some kind of a benefit of acting, like I just gave you the coupon code that's good till Friday night. I'm using Scarcity. It's a limited, finite amount of time that you need to act to get that discount. And so you can do the same thing with your fans and saying this special digital album is a limited edition and that it's only going to be available for 2 weeks or for the month of February or something, with all this bonus stuff. And then make it available. So the way to encourage your existing albums, use a site like Bandcamp to add some bonus material. It's only available, and Bandcamp allows you to do this, because it's a lot harder to do with iTunes. Like once you have an album up on iTunes, to go back and change things, I think there's a bit of, especially if you're going through CD Baby, I think it's a bit of a headache, and so that's why I would do something like Bandcamp to do that. So that's kind of like short answer for that. And again, you can go to thebuzzfactor.com and look over in the right column for the 19 cash flow strategies thing that I have available there. All right, let me go ahead and refresh my page here and take a look at the comments. I think there's a lot of them. We got a good group on the line here. I really appreciate you being here. I got to go up and see where I left off. Yes, let's see here. Highly recommend you make fans and friends and business connections. Really says, well, so Billy was talking about, hey Bob, did you almost start to talk about Octopus Marketing? I started to, yes, but I didn't go into my whole spiel about it. And in fact, even though I've been doing it for several years, Billy had a similar concept, I think, years ago that he talked about. So the Octopus Marketing concept, you may have caught a live workshop. There's another video in my music marketing playlist here on YouTube where I talk about, it's called the Octopus Marketing Formula Explained. I'll very briefly explain it here. But if you visualize the physical makeup of an octopus, there's the head in the middle, there's tentacles reaching out in all directions. The mass, so to me it's a great representation of what your online sort of marketing framework should be, your way to look at internet marketing. With your website, your artist website is the head. I'm trying to work around this blue snowball microphone here, but your artist website sits at the center of all of your online activities, and then the tentacles reaching out go to places like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, CD Baby, Amazon, all these various places, Bandcamp, Pinterest and Instagram, if you're so inclined to do the visual things. They are tentacles, they're outposts. If you another way of looking at it, a more mechanical, manly approach would be think of it as a bicycle tire with a hub and spoke system. At the center, the axle is your artist website, something you own, you control, and part of that hub in the middle is also an email list component. And so you own the space, you own the email list, you're in control. You use Facebook and Twitter. You want to interact with people on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube like we're doing here, but you also want to regularly send people to your site to check out new content that you have there, encourage them to get on your mailing list. So you're really trying to draw people to this hub in the middle where they don't have all the distractions of all the other videos on YouTube. When you're on Facebook, you're seeing this constant stream of what your friends are doing and who's single and whose relationship just got complicated and all this nonsense, that will distract people. Get them in an environment that you control, where it's all about you and your music, where they get to know you and you get to know them better too. So that is the Octopus formula in a nutshell. Hey there. Hi, Anthony Testa. It's great to see you work with sponsors for bands or shows. I kind of mentioned the endorsement thing earlier, and the same thing applies to sponsorships, Anthony. Greetings from Boston from Jedley. Oh yeah, I think we communicated by email. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see here. I think it's. Just pardon me while I read this to myself real quick. Yeah, Rowan says, I think it's why having a description of your music referencing who else you sound like is useful for people to find you, or at least to know to bother to listen to you. Yeah, that's one thing that we talk about, again, in that lesson 3 of the upcoming module, is different ways of describing yourself. And I give you a bunch of different formulas that you can sort of fill in the blanks, to see what works. In fact, Billy, if I remember right, Billy is been an integral part of all these things. I can't help but with mentioning it. But he, for years, he did children's music in a kind of a classic rock style, and one of the brand identity statements that he came up with was the Sesame Street Band meets the E Street Band at a Kiss concert. So I thought that was it's funny. It kind of makes you go, what? And it also is very descriptive. You know exactly what you're getting with that description. So don't be afraid, to mention other similar artists. That'll be clues to what you sound like. Because there's this thing, and I like the psychology of this, even though I've never studied it in depth, but there is this thing called associative memory, that when human beings are exposed to something brand new, the first thing that their brains do, or your brain, my brain does, is it tries to connect it to something that it already knows. It's sort of like an anchor. And so I always use the example of a futon. There was years when I heard this word futon, and I knew it was somehow, when I was much younger, I knew it was related to furniture in some way. I was over at somebody's house, and they said, "Oh, just throw your coat down on the futon." And I looked at it, and I went, "Oh, that's a futon." And I thought, so it's like a couch, but it's different in these ways, And so that's what you want people to do. And when people are first exposed to your music, the first question that they really want to answer, what question they want answered, is what kind of music is this? If you give them some kind of starting point in a description, it goes, "Oh, it's like that," and they listen to it. Yeah, it's similar, but it's different because you do this different, and I really like that, So anyway, take advantage of this associative memory thing. This is when you don't work. Hey, it's Ari. You were part of one of my masterminds a couple of years ago. It's good to see you again. So yeah, Ari says Twitter is working much better for me than Facebook. I still use Facebook, as I mentioned earlier. Most of my activity is on my personal profile, but Twitter is right up there with YouTube and my website. Twitter, I'm about to hit 13,000 followers. I just seem to be getting a lot of activity there. So Twitter is working well for me. But again, it's like you get out of it what you put into it. It's just not like saying, oh, you hear some guy, Ari or me, I'm saying Twitter's working for us. So you just go start an account there, but if you don't do anything with it, it's not going to work for you. You've got to work it to make it work. And so that's why I'm saying make sure it's something that you're drawn to. You've got to be interested in doing this stuff. If it's like this drudgery type of activity, you're not going to want to do it. You got to be consistent with it to get the most out of it. Leanne, welcome. Yes, this is a live broadcast now, but it's soon after I stop the broadcast at the around the top of the hour. Oh, we're getting there quick. Soon after, it'll be available on the same page, same website, as a replay. Okay, so yeah, Jed, I think it's Jed. This might be how do I set up my live YouTube broadcast? This is something I only found out I had the ability to do recently. I guess I've been on YouTube since 2006. So I guess they roll out like certain features based on your longevity and number of viewers and all that stuff. So I'm on even though I have a PC, I'm looking at a PC over here, which is the normal computer that I do my writing and surfing on in my office. But the rest of the house, we pretty much have Macs. So I got a MacBook Pro here in front of me. I got this Logitech HD camera that is a higher quality than the built-in webcam on the MacBook Pro that I've got plugged in. My finger in front of there. Pardon that. I'm using a Snowball from Blue Microphones that I've had for a number of years on a mic stand here. So I've got that. So yeah, I'm not using the built-in webcam, the built-in microphone. I'm trying to get a little bit better quality. I also have a light, like one of these umbrella, or not the umbrella kind of lights, but I forgot what they're called. It's kind of a box thing on a tripod to light this side. I got like just a desk lamp over here that I'm kind of pointing to get my face a little bit so it's not so much in the dark. And then it's just the Yeah, the light at the top of my office, which happens to shine a light in the background, which creates sort of a halo effect around my head. That wasn't on purpose, but people have pointed that out. If you want to think I'm angelic as a result, go for it. So that's kind of my yeah, my little setup here in a nutshell. Yeah. Oh, Loretta Hale, good to see you and my former Berkeley students who stayed in touch from Canada. Um, yeah, from a friend that you can. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so Leanne says, heard from a friend, you can find out who the music supervisors for licensing are on, so IDMB, who had the Internet Movie Database, is it IMDb? I'm not sure, but yeah, that site, I think it's Internet Movie Database. They list all the credits for all the different movies, so that there's, you know, if you've heard some cool songs, you can find out who the music supervisor was. Taxi, I've known Michael Laskow, the guy who founded Taxi, like over 20 years ago. I've known him most of the time since the early 90s, and I think he runs a pretty reputable organization. But again, your results are going to be based on how well you pay attention to the listings and submit appropriate stuff and all that good stuff. Steve Penderson says great stuff. Bob, thanks. Mark, is it Farosky? I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correct. The new Google Plus friend. I have to say, oh, cool! It's one of the most active live shows that you've seen with the comments. Cool. Yeah, I know. I really appreciate everybody chiming in here and being so interactive. If this is, you know, even though I'm doing these, admittedly, I'm doing these back to back, you know, the last couple of weeks to promote the upcoming class. I'm enjoying them so much, and the response is so good that I might, maybe like once a month or something, I might do one of these in addition to the other content stuff. Oh, Tina from Germany. I love it. From Hamburg in particular. That's really cool. Billy says the master class is like nothing else on the planet. The book stuff is great, of course. The worksheets help you to focus. The phone calls are a lot like what we're doing today, plus a mastermind. You know, on the calls that I do, it's not one-sided like this. I actually, right now, they're actually phone audio based. I haven't figured out a webinar solution where you can dial in from your computer, but we get on the phone, and I have the ability to mute people and unmute people, so it's more interaction where you can hear each other speak than what we're doing here. Gotta give me one of them green bottles. Oh yeah, the green bottle. I love this. Of course, my daughter gave it to me, so it's very special because of that. But it's nice, and a refreshing drink. Oh, and Billy says, but the best part of it, as I mentioned about this class, is the success partner aspect, where you're communicating with people on a regular basis. Again, the Music Marketing Masterclass Module 1 starts this coming Monday the 13th. Please visit the link that's right below the video here. There's a full page there that explains what it's all about, what you get, testimonials from students who took this last year. And then if by Friday night, if you enter GMM30, so GMM30, it'll knock $30 off the registration price. That's only, you know, I'm only letting that out to people who are watching either live or watching the replay, and it's only good till Friday night. So if that will be a little bit motivation for you, let's see here. We got some new. Of course, Ari, I remembered you. Oh, okay. There's a lot of comments here I didn't see yet. Hi, Nancy Moran, a good friend from Nashville. Awesome, cool. I'm glad you could be on here. Yeah, actually, Jed, I was just thinking that you and Billy should connect because you're doing some very similar things. And yeah, Ari, as I mentioned, of course, I remember you. Let's see here. The Music Pulse is on the line. What do I think of G Plus so far? So yeah, so Google Plus. A lot of people go, oh my God, another social media. There's a lot of benefits to being on Google Plus. Even if you don't want to work it on a regular basis, Google, boy, is doing a lot of things with their search results. They are making their search results a lot more personalized, a lot more localized, and so That's why when people search for phrases, the results that you get at your computer are going to be different from somebody across the country and around the world. In fact, I did that recently, and Mary Rose Varro is on too. Hi, Mary Rose. Great to see you again. Oh, and she highly recommends the Guerrilla Music Marketing book. Awesome, awesome. Um, but so I did this recently where I posted on Facebook because I had kind of fallen off the map with the phrase music marketing, which I used to dominate for years, and then I didn't do anything underhanded to like get a Google slap or anything, but I finally switched over to a WordPress site back in June, which I had just resisted doing because I was just so used to my old HTML-based site, but I finally gave in. And it seems to have helped. So on Facebook, I posted, "Hey, could you please search for music marketing and let me know, where I show up? Is it on the bottom of the first page?" And so people were reporting back to me, and they were all over the map. Sometimes I was on the first page, sometimes on the top of the second page, and I also asked them to tell me where they were. But you may notice, especially if you're logged into your Google account, you'll start getting more personalized things that from based on previous searches or based on people that you're friends with. But if you're on Google Plus and you have people or I should say people have you in their circles, if you're connected to a good amount of people, when they search for something related to your topic, because you're connected to them through Google Plus, you will tend to come up in a search based on stuff that you're associated with, if that makes sense. So there's all sorts of benefits. There's this thing called Google Authorship, which actually, if you go to thebuzzfactor.com and go to the blog, search through my archives, or search for Google Authorship. I did a piece on there a few months back about how to get your little image or photo to show up in Google results, which I tend to be noticed and clicked a lot more. So there's some quick things about that. I see John Franklin and the Franklin girls are in the house. Done some work with them, and we'll be doing. John's got two teenage daughters that are very talented, and I really enjoyed meeting at the Taxi Road Rally, and have worked with them, and going to be working with them a little bit to help them with their marketing. And so let me see. We're at the top of the hour here. So I'll answer one more question. Oh yeah, okay. So here's one that's sort of similar. So Janet had written in previously. Hang on a second here. She asked steps to get. What are the steps to take to get current followers more engaged in Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube? So here's the thing. So you need to be posting content. You probably heard this word content. It's just stuff that you post in your updates. It could be YouTube videos. That could be blog posts. That could be short things on Twitter. That's all is considered content. And we talked earlier about the four different forms of that: the text, the audio, visual, and video. So you're posting all this stuff up there. Then you're sitting back and hoping that things happen. Well, there's this E word that you may have heard called engagement. That's very important. It's important for a number of reasons. And that is, the more that people are engaging with your content, the more it's going to be shown to other people. And so, like on Facebook, they have their own algorithms, because you probably noticed that you don't see updates from all of your friends when you log into Facebook and go to your home page. You're seeing things from the people that you've interacted with. They sort of determine, based on the things that you've liked and personal messages you've sent to people and comments you've left, who your kind of favorite people are, the people and they tend to show you their stuff more. So if you get people interacting with your posts more, commenting, liking, sharing, those are the three big things. The more you do that, the more your posts are going to show up in the news feed. The more your YouTube videos are going to show up in related videos, ones that are, the more activity that they're getting, the more people share and retweet your tweets. And so how do you do that? Well, one thing is this thing. I'm just going to give you an acronym. You may or may not have heard before. CTA. It stands for Call to Action. Maybe you've heard this, maybe you're rolling your eyes, but I ask you, are you really doing this stuff? So basically you have to ask people to do stuff. My recommendation for you is, every time you create a piece of content, ask yourself, what do I want people to do? when they consume this. And you don't have to do this with everyone where you're asking, but end your post with the, well, what do you think? Or you post a video, like I've done this recently on my personal profile. I had some kind of quote, some positive quote, and I go, do you agree? Or, or share this if you agree, or ask a question, pop a video and ask them, ask people to comment, ask people to subscribe to not only your channel, ask people to like your page, but ask people to do something and figure out what is the call, have at least one call to action in almost everything. Again, you don't have to do with it every post. It might get a little weird. But most of the things that you post online, ask people to do something. And figure out maybe ahead of time what that thing is, so it's it's related to whatever the thing is that you're posting. It could be, hey, instead of just making an announcement like, hey, we're playing Saturday at Joe's Bar and Grill, hope to see you there, which is just sort of like an announcement, and you're just leaving it hanging, going, hey, we're playing at Joe's Bar and Grill this Saturday night, help us create our set list. What songs would you like to hear us play in the first set at Joe? There you're asking for engagement, and whether or not those people show up at the gig, they're liking it, they're commenting on it, they're sharing, or well, maybe sharing it, and then it tends to show up to other people who might actually attend your gig. But that's the whole thing, is that you want, so call to action, ask people to do something, ask yourself, what do I want people to do after they consume this, and then ask them pretty directly to do it. And one of the things you should be doing on a regular basis is motivating them to get on your email list. So by sending them to your website or a place where they can sign up and make that process really easy. Let's see here. I'm just going to look at a couple these. Running a grant. Oh, that's right. Mary Rose working and writing a grant. You guys should check out. I don't know too much about artist grants. You maybe singing some. The blogging. See, I'm recording. Oh, Batsira? I'm probably pronouncing your name wrong. I'm recording my first 2 songs. I want to hit the ground running with marketing. Is the masterclass appropriate for me right now? Oh, sure. I mean, you're recording your first 2 songs? Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. So, I've really created it for people of all levels in this way, because I know that some people coming to these classes or to my books are going to be at the early stages. They're just learning about all this. They're confused. At the other end of the spectrum of people that are pretty savvy already, and they already kind of have a handle on it. They're just wanting to refine some things, and then there's all kinds of people in the middle. And so that's why in this class I give you a lot of suggested action steps, things to put on those list of 3 things that you do every day, but I don't tell you exactly what to do. There's no way that I can give you a step-by-step thing. It's going to be appropriate for everybody. It could be too advanced for the beginner. It could be too simple for the more advanced person. And so that's why I give you a range of suggestions, but I ask you to choose those 3 things that you do every day based on your priorities, based on where you're at in your career. Ideally, it should relate in some way to the lesson. And this first one, if you're recording your first 2 songs, yeah, this first one would be a great introduction to marketing principles. But even if you've been around the block a few times, diving deep into these topics of how to describe yourself, how to set goals, are you being real? Do you know where you're going with this? Have you figured out all these, all the obstacles and the plan Bs and all this stuff? What else is in there? Are you clearly describing your music? That's the stuff that you can always refine no matter where you are. So even though there's specific lessons, the whole thing is for you to take action based on where you're at and what's best for you in your situation. So Music Marketing Mind is on Facebook, and that's a group that Billy runs. Patty? Mark says he's going to call me the Yoda of music marketing. He's impressed with my following. I've been at this a long time, and I am blessed to have a lot of people that appreciate my work, and I appreciate them definitely as a result. So definitely, it's always good to be prepared. Yeah, Loretta's saying definitely. Yeah, take the class. Answering the questions. Bob's the godfather of music marketing. I think CD Baby called me that, and which I think is better than grandfather. So ever since I started letting my hair go gray after dyeing it for years, I like Godfather better than that's just me. So anyway, yeah, I wanted to keep this. I didn't want to go overboard. We're a few minutes over the 1 hour mark, so I think we're going to wrap it up here. So again, if you register for the next module, it starts on Monday, January 13th. If you use that discount code of GMM30, it'll knock $30 off the price as long as you sign up and register by Friday night, which is January 10th. I think it goes until like midnight Eastern, maybe. So maybe jump on that now while you're thinking of it. And again, the link to the class is right below the video, whether you're watching it live or the replay in the coming days. That link will be the first thing in the description under the video. And so thanks for being here, and subscribe to the channel. If you're not already on my email list, please go. If you go to the link actually there. Actually, that'll be a full width page, but it'll take you to the website. But go to thebuzzfactor.com or go to the home page, and then you'll see a little image of a free report called Music Marketing Secrets that you can get, and that gets you on my email list and gets you a bunch of goodies. There's also how to recession-proof your music career. There's 4 steps to attracting fans. There's like a lot of these little reports that I give you just for signing up on my email list. And so that's my incentive for you to enter my world so you can hear what Yoda has to say in the weeks and months ahead. So thanks for joining me here on Elvis Presley's birthday, watching my art in the background here in my home environment. I hope you're warm and safe wherever you are, and I wish you tons of success in whatever you're doing in the music world. So take care. I'll talk to you real soon, and maybe we'll, like I said, maybe we'll do this once a month if there's a demand or interest in it. So, all right. Thanks a lot, everybody. So long for now. Bye.